If anybody's listening in the chat, can you go ahead and sound off if you can hear me on my audio? We're going to go ahead and get started. I don't know that anybody can actually hear me, but we're going to do so anyway. Welcome to the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad. Good evening, Highliners. My name is Eric, and tonight we're going to be doing the second ever live stream event on YouTube here on the channel, the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad. And we are taking a look, or the title of tonight's episode is Decals and Digression. I'm going to be lettering these HO scale Athearn cars for my shortline model railroad, the Morefield Southern. This is a freelance railroad. I can tell you a little bit about that more as the episode goes on here, but sort of the purpose for this is not necessarily to sit around and decal cars for an hour. It's more to sort of have a little bit of social time and fill you guys in on some of my thoughts and some things like that, because I don't think anybody here wants to sit around and watch a guy letter rail cars for an hour. So a little bit about me, you guys that may not know, I'm at best a mediocre model railroader who's building a model railroad in progress in the basement of my southeastern South Dakota home. And we here on the channel are covering projects related and unrelated to model railroading that interest me. And this live stream is completely experimental, as you guys saw in the intro here. And so this is your disclaimer to expect low production values throughout the video. So again, as I said, this is kind of a back of napkin, seat of pants type thing here. I prepared some discussion for us to move through as we letter these cars. And we'll see where the show prep and the discussion in the chat leads us. Please keep it clean and non-political in the chat. This is a family show. And know that I scheduled this tonight to avoid some kids things and to avoid Andy and Mike in the second section podcast. I don't think I'm going to head with them tonight. I think they're on an opposite week, and that's the way I wanted it here. Anyway, on to these Morefield Southern grain cars. I'll put a link in the chat or a link in the description of the show notes here later of an introduction video that I did to these. I think it was 2 years ago. I don't know if it was in that first season or quite remember exactly. But we're taking a trip to Blue Box City tonight. This is all old Athearn blue box stuff that I stripped and got ready to go. I came across a couple of estates that included these cars, and we just dipped them in the isopropyl alcohol, 91% isopropyl alcohol for a few hours in a closed container, and then toothbrushed off the old Athearn paint. And they go down to, I can't remember, I think it's black plastic is what they end up being. And we painted these, and what I did... This is no special paint here. I actually painted these with just plain old Krylon from the paint section at Walmart. I call this Alice Chalmers Orange, but it's really meant to sort of approximate Milwaukee Orange, and it went on really well, as you guys will be able to see here. There's a little thin spots here and there, but I think we would rather have it thin than too thick. And I'm going to apply microscale decals here. So again, these are Morefield Southern, my freelanced shortline railroad that was proposed to have existed here in the state of South Dakota, running up north from the city of Sioux Falls over to the city of Morefield, which doesn't really exist anymore. I don't think it was ever really incorporated in the first place. There was a general store and maybe a whistle stop type Milwaukee station up there, and then it sort of paralleled the Great Northern going north, starting at about Colton, South Dakota. So if you got your South Dakota maps out, that's where we're at in the country here. And the line was torn up in approximately, I think my research tells me 42 or 43, sort of the opening days of World War II. It was found to be redundant, and so they probably an agreement between the railroad and the government. They just got rid of it. I really like maps on rail cars, and you can see here in my slogan, the old Nidaros slogan here on this one car, and you can see on my logo on the channel here, I love maps, and I love maps on rail cars. So kind of when those heritage, what was it? The inspiration was Chris Palmieri's Home Shops. He did a Westfalls Northern car, so if you want to go out and Google that, Westfalls Northern, and you'll find Chris Palmieri's Home Shops company. They're taking super premium rail cars, kind of off-the-shelf rail cars from different manufacturers, and having those cars painted in these, I don't know if you'd call them famous, but somewhat famous freelance short lines from around the country that other modelers have done. I really liked that when I saw that, and I decided to follow suit with my own railroad, and knowing that I probably wouldn't find enough interest to do my own run of these things, or even have Chris do one. I'm just doing a few of them here for myself. We had a few of them land in different places, though, out of that first run. I think I did 5 of them. I've got 2 orange ones here and a gray one, and 2 of them are out at the South Dakota State Railroad Museum in Hill City, and I think one is at, I gave one to my buddy, Operations Manager Tim, so I hope he's enjoying that. And then if you're interested to know more about that Morefield Southern story, there is an episode in the channel here that tells you about kind of a fun story about how those purple boxcars came to be. I've got a pair of purple high cube boxcars that have come from, I think they're roundhouse cars, that I painted, and they've got an interesting story to them. Go out and search for Morefield Southern or MSRY in my channel, and you'll run across those. I'll put maybe a link to those in the show notes as well here. So before we get started here, I had a quick question for you guys. Go ahead and sound off and chat if you are able or interested. What freelance railroad, even if you don't have a layout, are you running, or do you have a freelanced set of rail cars, a railroad company that you own and run there at home, or on your club, or on your own home layout, or maybe you don't have a home layout and just have a freelance railroad? Do you guys have anything like that? And if so, what is the name of the railroad? What's the setting? And what era? That type of thing. Let us know the details here in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here on lettering, and I've got some show prep again that I'll continue through here as I do some of this lettering. What I did here, I started this last winter. I think it was 2004 New Year's. I went ahead, and all these yogurt cups, I've got individual lettering cut out, so I can essentially just pluck out the letters that I need to do one car here. And I'm going to get the brush wet and pick up one decal at a time and transfer that. That doesn't always work. One decal at a time to, I've got distilled water here on a little piece of paper towel. Probably be better off to use X-Acto knife here. And maybe this chisel blade brush isn't the best thing to use either. I just reach in there with my hand and grab some of these little rascals. Need an eye or two. You guys, I'm using this heavy X-Acto knife here. I really do appreciate the heft of this larger size X-Acto knife. Not necessarily just for decaling, but any job in general. Oh, got two L's there. I'm going to take my scissors and cut in between, because what will happen is those will slide off of the paper together and we'll be able to only use them together. So go ahead and stick those back on the wet paper towel. So we've got MSRY. So these are microscale decals that I'm working with here. These in general, these are block lettering. These are pretty forgiving to work with. An S. We got our, probably need another O or two here. Maybe just do one car to begin with. And probably what I should have done is place these on the paper towel before I got started here. So Morefield is an Americanization of the Norwegian word meraker, and you may run across that that word later as we run through the live stream here. So M-O-R-E-F-I-E, I need an L. And I need a D or two. We may do a whole bunch here, so we'll see where we land. And I've got these other cars here, the cars that I did previously, as sort of a guide to know which ribs to put the decals between. And then another idea. So on the Crossing Gate podcast, they'll say, if you've stolen from me, you've stolen twice. And the rationale for that is, well, here we've got this little deal, because I've spilled more of this decal fluid than I've actually applied ever. So I got wise, and this is Andy and Mike thing from the Second Section podcast. Just a 2x4 with a spade bit that I drilled down a little bit larger than those bottles, so I can avoid spilling my decal setting solution. So I want the red stuff first, microsol. I'm going to apply a little bit of that to my car here on the spaces where I'm going to put the decals in. Bring you back down to the car here. So then I'm going to grab, and that's ready to come off of there. So what we'll do is we'll just place those decals sort of in the general area, and then we'll come back and realign them with where they're really supposed to be in between those ribs. So as I said, I have some show prep that I did here to make it interesting, because you guys don't want to watch me do this the whole hour without something else interesting. So I thought I'd mention something that came up here a few weeks ago, and then I heard I saw Ray Arnott talking about it on Facebook. Ray Arnott is the host of the Around the Layout podcast, and he was talking about, or he was considering his NMRA renewal. He showed a picture of the form that they want you to send in with your money, however much that is. I think it's $68 is the renewal now for the basic membership. And they're sort of fighting a battle for more membership, as is everybody, I guess. And my initial reaction to that is I'm sort of well, you guys know, here on the channel I've advocated for NMRA membership in the past. Those need to go up a ways, don't they? I need to have room for my reporting marks down below. And anyway, I wanted to mention, get my computer back here. Hold on just a second. So we've got Boinker 139, happy building. I'm just starting, I only have an 8 switching yard and used cars, inexpensive track, and good times. Yeah, this hobby does not have to be expensive. So there's a perception out there that this hobby is a rich guy's game, but you know, if you start small and do a lot of details, or you're interested in putting a lot of work into a small piece or a small area, you can definitely have a lot of fun without spending a whole lot of money. So I'm going to grab some more setting solution here. Anyway, back to the Ray Arnott thing. I guess he was questioning the value for the money, and I would advocate that there's kind of 3 pretty strong reasons why I stay true to the NMRA, and those would be in the categories of people, service, standards, and education. And let me go into each one of those a little bit for you. The people side is, I would say, without a doubt, the strongest side of the NMRA. I got that decal folded under there. I hope I can get that back. It's going to go south on me, isn't it? I think we're going to end up losing that one. Probably have the wrong brush here too, even. That chisel brush probably is not the best for situating decals on the car. Anyway, rationale for staying true to the NMRA. The first thing is people, and without a doubt, the NMRA is made up of volunteers, and you get what you get from that, I guess. That's a different size E there, isn't it? I need to get a... Oh, Eric, what did you do here? I think there was one of these cars that I applied like double lettering in between the ribs. So that's probably what got me here. Anyway, people. The socialization aspect, or the social aspect of the NMRA, cannot be understated, I don't believe. All the guys that I've met in my local division, and even in the region here, the Thousand Lakes region, great bunch of guys, and they'll go out of their way to help you achieve whatever you're looking for. If they know how to do it, they'll definitely help you out. And then just sharing memories on these train shows and different events we go to. You know, we talk about family events and things like that, completely non-rail related, but having the bond of the amount of railroading known between us really seems to help things out. Great bunch of people. So I'm going to get my D here. And I don't want this to be a lecture about NMRA, but I just thought I'd mention my thoughts. You may have other other things going on there in your own mind. That D isn't wanting to come off there very well. Need to let that set in the water for a little bit longer. And I need to not have a misspelling here, so I need to have my L back. And a little solution so I can get that moved over. To the correct rib. And it looks like I'm going to ruin that one too. Yeah, we're going to trash that one. So then, again, on the NMRA, people, learning new things from people, trying different ways of doing things that you've never done before. There it moves. And I flip that one over too. There we go. You know, doing a live stream and decaling at the same time are a little bit harder than it looks. I'm going to drop that O there for the southern part. And I mentioned in a previous episode that we'd had the division meet here. Dakota Southeastern is my local division. And in May, we held a division meet here, and I guess it was nothing special. The business meeting wasn't really anything out of the ordinary for that group of guys. But then they, of course, toured the layout here, and I hope for maybe some critical feedback, and didn't get a whole lot. I'm not sure whether the guys were stunned at my lack of layout building skills or planning skills, or if they were just really blown away by seeing stuff they didn't expect to see when they came. And we had pie. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I was able to make us some fresh rhubarb pie from rhubarb that's growing here at our place in southeast South Dakota. And that was kind of fun to share that. So work on getting these letters positioned here before this setting solution gets dried up. That one's pretty dry there. And what I'm looking for here is just the square alignment off of the roof line of the car here, all the way across that word. Then the surface aspect of things, I belong to the NMRA, or I continue to belong to the NMRA, and I should have said at the top of this talk about NMRA is that our local division is doing a really good job of doing outreach type projects, and in education, that type of thing. The Dakota Southeastern, and then if you guys happen to be familiar with the Twin Cities division, in that area of the country, the basically central Minnesota, those guys are on fire. Those guys have that the Crossing Gate podcast that you hear every once in a while, and they have modelers retreats, and they have prototype modelers meets and things like that. I think they started up the first one, if I remember correctly, last year. I think that was in November, early December. And those guys are really doing a good job up there. So in that way, I'm proud to be associated with that group of folks. Locally, again, in the service area, Dakota Southeastern is doing outreach also by, they have a set of HO scale modules, a large set. They travel in a tandem axle trailer, and they have a set of T-track modules as well in N scale. They take those all over the country. They've been to, in recent memory, North Platte, Deschler, Nebraska, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and Garretson, South Dakota, to name a few. I don't think they've ever been north that I know of, maybe say from Madison, South Dakota. They may have gone to Watertown a time or two. They've got a member that comes down from up there, which they, yeah, in fact, I will say that probably more, Watertown is the furthest north they've been. That I know of, they've never been to North Dakota, but I could be wrong on that. And then, of course, running community education classes that they, I think that's twice a year that they try and do that. I could be wrong. For sure it's once a year. And that turns out to be a great recruiting tool. They've got a lot of good people by doing that. Not necessarily to their ranks, which they've gained a few people that way as well, but also just in model railroading in general. So again, I'm working on these Morefield Southern Freelanced hopper cars here. And I've got microscale decals here, block decals, and microscale, microsol, and microset over here. I don't know if you can see that from in the corner of the camera. Microset and microsol working together to get these things set on. I need my U to come off that decal paper there. And we've got some more chat here. Floyd Robbins, your hoppers look good. Thanks a lot, Floyd. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the live stream here. Thanks for joining us. Misplacing my brush here. And again, regarding these hoppers, these are just cheap Athearn blue box cars from 100 years ago. And nothing special whatsoever. These are pickups from estate sales. I need an H or two here. And I need the right size H. So then continuing on, people, service, reasons that I'm NMRA member. People, service, standards. Standards is probably the easy one that we can point to. So NMRA is the reason why we have DCC. So you can have track from manufacturer A, and you can have a locomotive from manufacturer B, with being all run by manufacturer C DCC system, and manufacturer D decoder in that locomotive. And not to mention the standards on the size of the space between the rails, the height of the coupler, that type of thing that keep us all working together. Supposedly you should be able to take any engine out of any box and put it anywhere and it should run. There's a lot of caveats with that, obviously, but I don't know about you, but I value that a lot. People don't think about that. And I guess maybe you could say that that's those standards being set up as ancient history, and maybe not, but I've got a episode coming up that will show one particular manufacturer isn't paying attention, and I'm going to supposedly ready to run entry-level rail car that's not ready to run at all. So we'll let the guilty be protected until the truth comes out. And that E is backwards. You guys would tell me if I was going to make a spelling mistake here, wouldn't you? That R doesn't want to come either. There it is. And we need an N. We're short on N's here for some reason. And then education, and one thing that people overlook a little bit, and I may have covered that in under the people and the learning and stuff, but education with the achievement program, you may not know about this, but there is sort of a merit system that they have going on. There are several different categories which you can earn certificates in towards the designation of Master Model Railroader. And whether you're interested in that or not is maybe not material, but there's going to be some areas which probably every model railroader is going to be interested in. Things like electricity, civil engineering, organization government, volunteerism, authoring. I believe maybe photography is a certificate. I don't remember. What do you think of that? Several certificates. I think it's probably a dozen or so certificates in some combination. It's a little bit like taking college credit. Some of it is mandatory and some of it is not. Some of it's optional. You might have the choice of 3 from a certain category, any one of 3, that type of deal. And that'll earn you your MMR designation. Some combination of 12 certificates anyway. And you can learn a lot doing that. I've had a lot of good quality people that I know that have executed that. I have not. I've only got 2 certificates to my name, plus my my Golden Spike Award, which counts for probably not much, but I've got it, and that's probably more than a lot of non-NMRA members. So I guess in the end, what I'm trying to say is in the NMRA and the regions are a 100% volunteer organization. And, you know, if you join up and you don't see something being done that you'd like to see done, or you'd like to see it different, chances are you're volunteering for a job to fix whatever needs to be fixed, or do whatever needs to be done. I know there's a few things within DSCD that I'd like to see done, but at the moment where I am in life, I just don't have a lot of time. And I should give that disclaimer too, that where I'm at in life here with school-age children and things like that, this live stream itself is a vast luxury, and getting away to an operating weekend is also a vast luxury. So probably being very involved with NMRA leadership isn't in the cards for me right now, but I'm sure as the years go around and I edge towards retirement, maybe that might be in the works for us. And I did do a spot on the NMRA on a previous episode, so I'll post that in the show notes down below. If you another little participation point, are you guys NMRA members? Is anybody here? What division and what region are you guys in? So again, I'm DSCD, Dakota Southeastern Division of the Thousand Lakes region, which is basically all of South Dakota, all of Minnesota, effectively a little slice of Wisconsin, and up into southern Canada. I think most of North Dakota as well is as Thousand Lakes region, and southern Manitoba, and I'm trying to remember, there may be even some of Ontario there as well. I think the TLR convention next year, if I heard right, is in Thunder Bay, so we'll see whether people are able to make it to that. Certainly the travel situation remains a little bit up in the air, but we'll see if that happens or not. So check for chat here. What's going on? Derek Alexander. All right. Welcome, Derek. BN Ironwood Railroad. Where is the BN Ironwood Railroad located? Okay, so we have got our Morefield Southern spilled out here. I wanted to point to, just take the camera off the tripod here a minute and show you what else I've got going on here. So you might remember, or might have seen from that episode, that I've got different placards on either side of some of these cars here. And what I did is, this car, I used the same logo on both sides on both ends. And if you're paying attention, you will remember that that strongly resembles the Milwaukee Roads logo, that whatever that tilted diamond or tilted red square. I took and photoshopped that. Most of the time I'll just put one of those logos on one side and something different on the other. I believe that one that I sent out to the museum had the museum logo on the one side and the Morefield Southern logo on the other end. And I've got these slogans that I put together, sort of railroad safety slogans. This one is that, like you said, old Nidros route. Nidros is another Norwegian word. I believe there's a town in Norway, Nidros, and there's actually the original congregation here from this very area here of Lutheran church people that started, I think, the very first church in Minnehaha County here where we reside. Then some of these other placards that I've got. Again, the South Dakota Railroad Museum. That I'll put these over styrene that I've painted. And the idea is I've got real thin styrene here to basically just white glue these on. Meraker. That's the Norwegian word that translated into Morefield or Morefields. Safety is no accident. That's sort of a railroady safety slogan type thing. Gateway to Sioux Falls, sort of a tongue-in-cheek railroad slogan that Morefield Southern might have used. Sort of a take on, if you've ever heard of Mandan, North Dakota, they call themselves Gateway to Bismarck. They're right on the other side of the river, sort of like Fort Pierre here in South Dakota. Gateway to Sioux Falls. So I don't think Sioux Falls really needs its own gateway, but whatever the case. So I don't know. I think in order to speed things along here, I might end up just taking the glue and getting a couple of these started. I'll put you back on the stand here. And maybe move that down just a little bit. And how I did this, and I got to get the right size dimensions out here. So again, I just painted styrene is all. And what I'm going to do here is just plain old white Elmer's glue and slather just a little bit of that. A very, very thin coating will do. And then I'm going to move that around a little bit with a toothpick here. And I want to find another one of those narrow, long rectangular ones for that South Dakota Railroad Museum placard. Here we go. Got one that didn't get painted in there. I think what I did is I probably cut these out and then attach them with a little bit of masking tape to a piece of scrap, and then painted them, rattle canned them, whatever. Probably need a little more glue on that. So responses on the NMRA thing. We got lots of people in the chat here now. That's really cool. John McKenzie's here. Twin Cities, all right. John, I didn't realize you were an NMRA member. That's pretty cool. Way to go. Floyd Robinson's in the Dakotas. That's cool. John's here. Really cool. Yeah. Yes, we're so we're in the Dakotas. We're in southeast South Dakota here, and that's where this freelance model railroad is set, the Morefield Southern. So again, if you missed that at the top of the show here, there's a line that came out on the Milwaukee Railroad. So there was a line that went up towards Flandreau, South Dakota, and Egan, South Dakota, that ended up branching off, and that's actually truncated now at Del Rapids, and so that's a regional short line. Let's see, I want to get the name of that right. D&I Railroad, the railroad that my buddy operations manager Tim works for, and so off of that particular line branched another Milwaukee line just right north of Renner, South Dakota. And that's what I'm calling Morefield Southern. So that's the line that was torn up in the early 1940s, again in the opening days of World War II. I'm not going to actually attach these tonight, but I just wanted to show you what I'm doing here. Might even be better off to use my finger here to spread that glue out. But I don't really want to go wash my hands right now and leave you guys here alone. And I haven't got any kind of coating on these things. These are just printed off of just plain old printer paper, printed off on a color laser printer. So I'm not afraid of the color running here at all. But I am afraid of those things curling up, so I got to do a better job of gluing that. Probably use a little bit more glue, as a matter of fact. So, John, you probably like that comment me saying about how the Twin Cities division is on fire. Those guys really do seem to be doing a good job up there. And again, I wish I had more time to give to my own division. I think what we're going to want to do is set that aside and let that dry. And same for this one. That white glue will dry clear. And if there's any hint that the corners are going to turn up, I'll redo these. Not a big deal here. We don't have a whole lot invested in these at all. Oshawa area, okay. Port Dover on Lake Erie. I've not heard of Port Dover. That's a little east of my area here. Okay. So, BN fan, I presume, gets all the way over next to Lake Erie. How does that happen? I realize BN isn't much of a thing anymore. It hasn't been for 25 years, so fans get scattered out all to the wind. So cool to hear from somebody so far away. Okay, then I wanted to mention one quick thing about NMRA before we get off that subject. There is such a thing as a Rail Pass membership. So if you're for first timers, if you just wanted to try it out, there is a possibility to join. I think it's $19.95. I looked here just a little bit ago. For $19.95, you get 9 months for $19.95, and that gets you into all the whatever NMRA stuff is going on in your area that you'd want to attend. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this Negros route placard on, and I need another one of those guys. Again, 9 months for $19.99, and I'll put the link to the PDF form in the show notes. Quick like, I know we're running short on time here. This is really going quickly here, and times have gotten away from me a little bit, and we haven't done that much decaling yet. I wanted to mention that heard some interesting statistics on the national show, which just wrapped up, and you're gonna have to give me some help here. Pronunciation A is Novi. Pronunciation B is Novi. A or B, which one is right in Michigan? Do I have anybody that knows about local lore there in Michigan? So the National Convention just wrapped up. Actually, it's been a few weeks now. And I heard some figures from there. I think actually it came out in the NMRA Turntable magazine about how they had 950 registered employee attendees at the convention, which was up 50% over the year past. The year past was in Long Beach, California. And I don't know, I mean, probably Novi is probably closer to the center of the model railroading universe in North America, perhaps. So that travel might have affected that a little bit. I'm not sure. I want that safety is no accident one here. So the combination of maybe a bit more of an attractive location plus more affordable travel probably was one factor there, but they're going to say that their recruitment efforts and things they've done to improve the convention, shortening it, probably helped out some. So good job to Gordy and the crew. Whatever they're doing to get things right, I think they're definitely going in the right direction. Okay, so there is our placards. So I've got, let's see, show you those over there. The ones I've got glued, and those will be enough for at least 2 cars here. And then some more statistics. They drew in, that's a 50% increase in attendance. They drew in 6 countries, 6 provinces, 6 I assume Canadian provinces, and 44 of the 50 U.S. states, including Alaska. So that's pretty cool to think of, that they had that big of a that diverse of a group. The most encouraging news is they had 266 first-time convention attendees, which is a good part of that increase, and 300 non-members experienced the value of an NMRA membership firsthand. So that's in the words of the NMRA that came out in that Turntable magazine here, or Turntable newsletter a couple of weeks ago. Then another question for you guys. Have you attended lately or ever an NMRA function at a division or, well, actually probably the question would be is have you attended an NMRA function at a regional or national level? And I have never attended a national convention, but I've attended the Thousand Lakes region a couple of times. And that Sioux Falls one where we toured Midwest Railcar Repair, that was a blast, you guys. Every part of that was a lot of fun. The dinners, the giveaways, the clinics, the contest models, the tours, prototype tours, things like that were just off the hook amazing. So yeah. So Derek Alexander says 800 the first day. And let's see. Okay. Floyd Robbins is a BN guy. Okay. Very neat. Oh, Floyd. Oh, Floyd Robbins is from Southern Ontario. Okay. It's a real Canadian in our midst. I've gone through a period, I don't think I'm still over it yet, Floyd, that I've been fascinated with Canadian culture, Canadian railroading, that type of thing. I even did a little bit of an episode on it here a while back. Would like to get up there and spend some time sometime when time allows. Toronto for NMRA convention. Okay. Very neat. Okay, so I'm going to get back on the decals here and patch together another Morefield. So again, you guys don't want to watch me decal here all evening, and we're kind of getting down to the end of the show here. I want to just discuss a couple of items that I've got that interest me as far as HO scale, Burlington Northern news, and since we have a couple of guys here that are, for sure, a couple of guys that are interested in BN like I am, I wanted to discuss or get input, feedback about some things that I've seen going on. John, I know this doesn't apply to you directly, but that Scale Trains GP39E release, I thought those things would never, ever be available in plastic. But it's cool. They're finally going to ship here. I would assume maybe even people will start having those in the next few weeks or so. I don't know how many engines you'd had to hack up, detail parts you'd had to come up with, hours you'd had to spend in order to get to a GP39E. And they're kind of a Frankenstein. For those of you that aren't aware of what a GP39E is, those were rebuilds that BN did. They started with, some of those started with Southern units that were high hood, so they ended up putting a regular EMD cab on, not the GP30. So the GP30 cab got swapped with a regular -2 cab, new nose on, I believe, or maybe the nose wasn't changed, but then basically everything behind the cab got changed with that rebuild. So there's kind of the hood is higher than the cab, sort of looks like one of those EMDs or one of those GEs with the dynamic brakes up high behind the cab. Kind of cool. Not kind of cool, really cool. And at one time I was sort of zeroing in on that early 90s, or actually early 90s, late 80s type of era, and those would have fit very well. I don't think I'm going to end up picking those up, but if I can find one, a good one secondhand for cheap, I might end up doing that. And get back in the frame here. Other news from Scale Trains, they're running SD40-2s again, and not specifically a BN model, but those Halliburton cement cars that they just announced. That's something that's super cool and probably never, a lot of people never thought they'd see an HO scale as well. They're just an odd looking car. If you guys haven't seen those, go out and Google those. They're basically the body of the cement, or the tank, I guess if you will, or the hopper that holds the cement, is basically visible from all angles outside the car, and really has a very cool look to it. So I think there's 3 of those hopper bins that appear on the car. You can see from outside of the car. Again, a Halliburton car, and I think they were pretty specific, if I remember correctly, to Alaska Railroad, but they probably appeared here and there in the lower 48. So that'd be a kind of an interesting thing to put in a train. You wouldn't want a whole bunch of them, but unless you're Alaska Railroad, of course. Rapido, we're all waiting. C30-7s, I guess those are out and in people's hands now. Pretty cool there as well. I'm not really a GE guy, so I don't know why they're so great, but people say really nice things about them. That RS11, that filled a nice gap, and John, you might have more to say about that than I do, being BN, I think, moved all those Alcos out to the Pacific Northwest. I don't know what year that was, but they moved them from where GM was using them on the Iron Range to the Pacific Northwest, where those guys knew how to work on them out there. And I don't know, somehow there's perceived to be an advantage having them out there, out west, instead of scattered around sort of the former GN territory. Then the U25B, also from Rapido, and I think back to the RS11, one of the cool things about that, and I believe that Rapido probably really did a good job, and I haven't seen any specific reviews on them, but they've been into doing a lot of road number specific work, and I've heard that Alco had during their production, they made a lot of changes, so maybe 2 units were alike, but not 3. So things like louvers on doors and things like that, I think gave manufacturing outfits, model railroad manufacturing outfits, fits to get anything right. That Atlas RS11 is a really good model. It runs amazingly, but I'm sure this Rapido model, this new Rapido model, is probably much superior to the Atlas model in terms of prototypical detail and fidelity. That doesn't stop me from liking the Atlas model. I have one of them here. I have no business owning it, but I still own one, and I'm going to make up some kind of story about how they were testing them on the High Line, just to see how they'd work at altitude. Because we all know that roots blown EMDs do not do well at altitude, and certainly the High Line was at altitude. And I never heard any reason why, if they ever moved off of those. I think the reason why they moved to GP20s was more for shorter wheelbase than anything in those last few years that the High Line was in operation. And the High Line I'm talking about is Edgemont to Deadwood, South Dakota, that short line up to Deadwood, 109 miles. And it had been rebuilt, as I understand, from a narrow gauge, so the corners are sharp and the grades are steep, so you needed 4 axles rather than 6 axles out there. Drop bottom ballast cars, I did go ahead and order one of those from Rapido. I think that's going to be a cool addition. If you ever see ballast cars tied together, there's never more than one that looks alike. That'll be a nice, fun thing to have in a train, in a maintenance way train. I did notice that they released or announced a passenger car, sleeper car. I think it's based on a Northern Pacific prototype. And I'm not specifically into passenger trains, and I think I do have a sleeper for my Great Northern Empire Builder, Burlington Northern Empire Builder, Rainbow Train era, Rainbow Empire Builder era from Walthers. So I probably won't be buying one of those, but that doesn't stop me from thinking it's cool. And of course, the one that everybody's, well, maybe not everybody, but at least I'm waiting for anyway, is the that SD9, that Hammerhead SD9 from Rapido. And I'm sure those guys have done a really nice job on those. Apparently they're on the water right now. So that's a super late production, the one I'm looking for anyway. I had a buddy of mine that ordered the DM&E version, the SD10 version, which was Milwaukee Road repaint. And those would certainly apply around here too, as well. And being I'm dabbling in Dakota, Minnesota, and Eastern Railroad, but they're awful expensive for just a little bit. And I've already got 3 DM&E locomotives, so I probably won't spring for any more, unless again I can find those maybe on a secondhand sale or something like that for super cheap, as sort of a second run type scenario. That's a smaller font too. I don't want that one. That L is the wrong L. And I think that one is too. I should have checked on that before I got started here. And so the SD9 that I'm waiting for is the that super late production that they're modeling that's never been done in HO scale before. And my buddy operations manager Tim is kind of having a fit because he's a Masabi guy, and they didn't announce Masabis, which be really easy to get to. They're the SD9s that they had from what they've done for the Burlington Northern. I would imagine they're planning on doing that later. I gotta imagine it's on their radar. They don't want to lay all their cards on the table all at once, so we'll wait to see whether that becomes a real thing or not. And then as far as another group that's doing a lot of stuff, Athearn, they're near constant stream of new products and legendary liveries and famous railroads and things like that. They announced, I think one of the big deals that I noticed people were complaining about, the lack of whiteface SD40-2s, which their latest announcement fixed that. And I would imagine they'll follow through with those. I don't have any reason to believe that they won't. So that'll be a nice thing for those guys to have. I'm probably personally about done buying SD40-2s just because I have a slug of them, and my operating scheme probably really doesn't call for too many of them, if any at all. I need a D here. There we go. I gotta get these letters straight here, you guys. So we'll just take a quick chat, or a quick look at the chat here. And we are a little bit over time here, and I want to respect everybody's time here. Yeah, John says 71, 72. Pretty early in the scheme of things with Burlington Northern. And yeah, I agree. Floyd Robbins, Burlington Northern had a lot of unique engines back in the day. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the neat thing about what John's doing is that he can do all that cool stuff that I can't do. My sweet spot, I've sort of settled on 1985-ish, and that's probably about the time that all the U-boats were mostly gone. All the 20 cylinders were gone. The F40 or the 45 series, the SD45s and the F45s were being purged in large numbers at that time, and all the Alcos were gone. Most of the F units were gone, probably except for the snowplow ones, that type of thing. So, yeah. And then, yeah, the E units being around. Oh, yeah. Derek Alexander mentions the E units. That's what you're talking about there, I assume. Rapido doing that. I left that out. That's another cool one if you're modeling the Chicago area, and even those of you that don't. I considered getting one. Really, yes, better than I could ever do. Better than I could ever do as well. before those were announced or before those came out, there's a lot of guys doing a whole lot of work to those to get an E unit into shape to be a BN commuter unit, and the guys that can do it really pulled it off. But the guys like me that can't, I don't think I'd even attempt it. So yeah, like big engines. Yeah, I think a lot of people like big engines. So. Okay, well, it's getting down to the end of the time that I have here. We're actually 10 minutes after the hour here, and I had this scheduled through 9 o'clock, and I want to be respectful of my family and stuff. So I'm going to continue with this and get these decals set here, and probably, since this was so well received, we might do this probably in another format, maybe not decals in Digression, but some other way, some other topics, some other main thing out here on the workbench that we'll do. I recognize that it's difficult to work now and perform a live stream at the same time. So, but I appreciate your guys' patience, and I appreciate your guys' sticking with me. This really is really was a nice experience. It was a nice surprise to see so many people in the chat and see so many people participating. So with that, I will bid you guys a good night. Spell check. Right. Well, I have, so we're on Central Time here. It is 9:10 p.m. Local time. We are in sort of getting onto the western edge of the Central Time Zone. A few, let's see, what is it, 2 hours west of here is Mountain Time Zone at just a little past Chamberlain, South Dakota. So thanks everybody for joining. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night. Is it Friday yet? Awesome.